Millions of people have read the book Think and Grow Rich. So how come millions of people haven't grown rich? It's not from lack of wanting to or trying. As you may know, Think and Grow Rich says there's a secret for success, but the author only gives us half of the secret. It's on the reader to figure out the other half. But that's the problem. Most people can't figure out the full secret. But when you read the book knowing the full secret, boy, it jumps out at you all over the place. When you read the book not knowing it, you're wondering, what is it? You keep reading and rereading, thinking you missed it. Well, you did miss it because the full secret is not stated in the book. So in this video, I'm going to reveal what I discovered is the full secret of Think and Grow Rich. And once you understand it, you will grow rich. I did, and I feel so blessed for how it transformed my life. At 50, it caused my income to go up by 25 times over the $200,000 to $300,000 a year I'd made each of the prior 20 years. Also met my wife from doing this as well. And today I teach the full secret of Think and Grow Rich and a 12-minute a day technique to apply it to high achievers at the University of Texas at Austin. So let me teach it to you now. Here's a half of the secret Napoleon Hill gives us. Everything starts with an idea. Well, when I read that at 50, I'm thinking, sure, but where do you go with that? But after reading Think and Grow Rich probably 20 times, here's what I discovered is the full secret. It's what you envision in detail with emotion on a daily basis is what shows up in your life. Now, let me say that again. What you envision in detail with emotion on a daily basis is what shows up in your life. What that means is you create immense clarity about your own unique life, exactly the person you want to be, exactly what you want to accomplish, and precisely how you're going to achieve your clearly defined goals. Then, as your new morning routine, you read it to yourself each day, and it takes 12 minutes a day. After approximately 21 days, the science kicks in, and what you're feeding yourself starts showing up in your daily actions and thoughts automatically without thinking. That's leveraging yourself through science, which
welcome everyone to Together We Serve TV show. It's Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Welcome. I'm very excited because my guest today, I've been using his program for 40 weeks now, and completely changed my life. But he's also a servant. He's out there serving people, helping people grow and be successful. You saw some of the videos, see some more at halftime. It's powerful. We'll talk about the book and all that, talk about Think and Grow Rich and Napoleon Hill, but let's bring our guest on. John, welcome to the show.
Hey, glad to be here. Can you hear me?
A little bit of delay, but we're good. Think and Grow Rich, why it excites you so much?
Well, the fact that it was the top book in the world by a factor of 10 was the compelling factor. I mean, it's been read by 150 million people.
Yeah, that's powerful. Yeah, go ahead.
So the fact that because I read the book when I was 41, but it didn't change my life. But when I read it at 50 and realized it's the top book in the world on success by a factor of 10, that's when it made me go deep to figure out the secret.
And what did you find?
Well, you want me to explain the secret?
Let's bring it on.
Okay. So here's the secret of Think and Grow Rich. Or maybe to put this in perspective, what Napoleon Hill says is the half of the secret he gives you is that everything starts with a thought. But what the full secret is what you envision in detail with emotion on a daily basis is what shows up in your life. And just think about that. What you envision in detail with emotion on a daily basis is what shows up in your life. And what that means is you create immense clarity about your life. And you define, here's exactly the person I want to be, exactly what I want to accomplish, and precisely how I'm going to achieve my clearly defined goals. And so you create that clarity and put it on a template that I created that helps you create the clarity. Then you feed that to yourself each day. And after 21 days, the right actions happen automatically without thinking. And three things then happen. First thing you experience is immense control over your life. Well, of course you would. You're feeding the succinct articulation of your desired life to yourself each day. Of course you're going to feel control. Then the second thing you experience is immense confidence, which is a direct result of the control you feel. And you feel de-stressed because the mind thrives on order, and you're creating immense order in the mind by feeding the succinct articulation of your desired life to yourself each day. Then the third thing you experience is the right actions start happening automatically after approximately 21 days, and those upgraded actions then creates the life you want. Pretty simple.
So what happens then is, as I program the mind, I don't think about me. One of my manifestations in my template that I built through your program was sitting erect. And I notice now I sit erect without thinking about it.
Right.
Talk more.
Well, keep in mind, this is all foundationally based on 95% of your daily actions are unconscious. Let me say that again, because this is so pivotal. This is the epiphany that changed my life. And so think about it. 95% of your daily actions are unconscious, which means that you're taking actions that are beyond your conscious control, right? And because you are wired for survival, you're wired to be fear-based and reactive. So those unconscious actions that are happening, again, that's 95% of your actions, are fear-based and reactive. And so you're wired to be wired for survival. You're not wired for success. But when you feed the succinct articulation of your desired life, you are overriding being wired for survival. Now you're wired for success, and those right actions will happen automatically without thinking. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. It's a powerful tool because you literally can change your life. I got a question from the audience. And that question is, what was your journey like before discovering your key to success?
Great question. Well, again, I started my career as a CPA, became an entrepreneur at 30, was in 7 different businesses in my 30s and 40s, and then I hit 50, and I'm not as successful as I thought I should be. And not to go that much deeper into my story, but ultimately it occurred to me to go find the top book in the world on success and apply Think and Grow Rich to my life, word for word. And so doing so, 25x the 200 grand a year I'd been making the prior 20 years. And so my journey before then was that I worked harder than all my friends, yet I only was making 200 grand a year. That was from pure hard work, working hard but not working smart. And I always had this feeling that there was more in the tank, but why were my results not matching my efforts? And I'll tell you something I ultimately realized is my results were matching my efforts. I was getting exactly what I deserved. What my actions were taking, that's what I was getting. I was like, you've heard this, the quote from Bill Parcells. He says, "You are what your record says you are." Well, my record said I was a $200,000 a year net entrepreneur. Well, like it, don't like it, that's what I was, because that's what my actions were producing. And when I was blessed to increase my income by 25 times, that also reflected my my new actions. Again, I had a level of control over myself beyond what I'd ever experienced before. And see, one of the things that I realized, and I know you'll agree with this, is that the differentiator today between the mega successful And the moderately successful is control of self and focus. Well, what's control of self? Your daily actions and doing the key behaviors that are required in your business to make it successful, 95% of which are unconscious. And then what's focus? Well, focus is just focusing on what moves the needle and letting all distractions fall by the wayside. Well, that's exactly what this 12-minute a day technique does.
I look at it too. You go buy a car and it's a unique color that you've never bought before. And you go, oh, no, there's no other cars out there. I bought a truck, F-250, this unique brown, and started driving it. And then I started seeing these same truck all over. Is that because I would look in the driveway and see that same, my truck every day, and I was aware of it subconsciously? Oh, there's the brown. I probably saw it before I bought the truck. Am I kind of giving a good analogy here?
Well, you're opening the door to a great thing to talk about. So your reticular activating system, which I bet you know what that is, it's basically the filter for the brain, and it brings into your consciousness what you tell it is important to you. And the way most people operate is they don't give their RAS very much clarity about what's important to them and what's not. But when you're feeding the succinct articulation of your desired life to yourself each day, it's giving your RAS immense clarity about what's important to you. And all those things that are important to you start showing up in ways they never did before. I mean, it's the law of attraction, basically.
Yeah, it's a beautiful law. I love that from Think and Grow Rich. So on the flip side, if I want to be unsuccessful, or I'm thinking a criminal, I'm watching these documentaries on drug lords, very
Right.
guys, but they took their RAS and said, okay, I'm going to do bad things with
Right.
it. And so it's the same thing. It's just on the negative side.
Right. Right. I think one thing that's sort of important to convey to your audience is, because this was what changed my life, was simply understanding how the human mind works. And think about this. Your brain is the most valuable thing you have by far. Yet nobody's ever taught you how to use your brain. And here's how it works. I mean, it's so simple. Conscious mind sets your intention and is influenced by logic. Subconscious mind controls your daily actions, or 95% of them, and it's only influenced by repetition. Let's say you want to lose weight. Well, conscious mind sets the intention to lose weight based on the logic of the health benefits. But the reason people fail to lose weight is obviously not because of lack of intention, but lack of influencing the part of their brain that's controlling their actions, their eating, their exercising. And so you can see, when you feed the succinct articulation of your desired life to yourself each day, that's the repetition the subconscious mind needs to make the right actions happen automatically without thinking, because you're telling it, here are the right actions, and here's the mindset I want to have as I'm living my life today. And that's why you're overriding being wired for survival and you're wiring yourself for success.
I love that. And I got to share with you, John, in the audience. That's why I want John on. I'm going to bring him back because this is it's changed my life, because I was diabetic. I'm not diabetic anymore. I've lost 40 pounds because in my template, I say I eat only two unhealthy meals a week. And I try to avoid red meat most of the time. I don't tell myself no more, but
Right.
no red wheat, no sugar, no bread. I'm down 40 pounds in 6 months.
Wow. Good for
But
you.
thank you. And that's why I love you. And I'm so respected to you, because my health has completely changed off medicines. But anybody can do this, John. I'm not being special. I just took action, right?
Well, but here's the thing, Steve, that it took me a long time to get this. And I know your audience will appreciate this. Now, I told you the story before, but 5 years ago, I decided, okay, I'm gonna share what I've created with the top expert in the world on success, and see if there's anything any flaws in it, anything similar to it. Whoever he or she is, I'm going to find the top expert in the world on success and show them what I created. Well, I came to the conclusion that Darren Hardy is that person. So I write a big check. I spend 3 days in La Jolla, California with Darren, and the moment comes to show him my template. And so um, he looks at it and goes, "Wow, this is really good." But he says, "John, people aren't going to spend 12 minutes a day on this." And I'm like, "Darren, how the heck can that be? It 25x my income. Time Magazine did a cover story on the science behind it, and we're applying the simple concept of the top book in the world on success to people's lives. I mean, what do you mean they're not going to spend 12 minutes a day on it?" And he says, "Well, John, a dirty little secret in the success business is that more success is merely a preference for the vast majority of people, for 98% of the people." He says this is only for the 2% that are really driven, where more success is a necessity and where they want to play the game of life at their full potential. And the mistake I had made to that point was I'm like, well, everybody wants to be more successful, so this is for everybody. Wrong. I was making the assumption that everybody is a John Mitchell. They're not, and so that was totally enlightening to me. And from that point forward, I started seeing he was so right. And the 2%ers loved what I created. The 98%ers found it interesting, but they weren't going to do it.
It blows me away because I'm raising my hand. I want to be a 2%er. That's my philosophy. When I talk to people, do you want to be a 2%er? Read this book. We'll get into the book in a minute here.
Right.
And you're right. There's days I get up and like, okay, I got to read my template. That I really don't want to, but because of my results and knowing it's working, and by the way, audience, he's had it work in 25 days. I was seeing big results, and that's not going to be the same for everybody. Of course, we're not saying that, but I just can't stop doing it, and I can't stop telling people about it. Talk about that.
I am so honored by what you have brought into my life. First of all, how do we meet? Do you remember?
Through interview valet.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So we met through them, and I hired them to get me booked on podcasts, and so I do a fair number of podcasts. All of a sudden, I meet you. I'm like, this guy is different. I mean, and we barely got to know each other at the inception. I mean, barely. And so we have a great interview. You ask great questions. And then all of a sudden, you start introducing me literally, I don't know, 5 or 6 people a week, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
And you would do a video introduction. I'm like, this is interesting. And then I start contacting the people, and I'm meeting amazing people like Eric and the brain, and I go, on and on, and I'm like, wow, I don't know who the hell Steve Ramona is, but he is connected, and he's a really sharp guy. And of course, I'm always it makes my day when you tell me the impact it's had. And of course, I'm not surprised because, hey, this works on everybody. It's pure science. How could it not work? And when I would coach entrepreneurs, I'd give them a money back guarantee. I'd tell them, listen, if I can't double your income within a year, I'll give you your money back. And this before I had my book. I'd probably charge them 20 grand and take them through a 8-week video course that I had. And so it's pretty time intensive from my standpoint, and I give them that guarantee. And when you play out the numbers over 3 years, they'd write a $20,000 check, but they would get a 35 to 40 times return on their money. And every time I would do that, I would videotape their results. But after I'd done that for about a year and a half, I saw that the leveraged way to do this is to license my methodology to coaches. And having a book made it way easier to teach the methodology. And the evolution for me really is probably to take the people that are totally into it, like you are, and go deep with them, as opposed to me sort of teaching the methodology itself. Because the book, in theory, should do a good job of that.
Well, the lesson here is you find something good, audience, like I did with John, and we connected right away. It was all new, but when somebody puts something out like this, and audience, why I want you to connect or get the book, we'll talk about it later, is, did you hear what he just said? He was charging $20,000 a year. I got the book, it was $27, 20 something, it doesn't matter. Everything is there. We're going to talk about this in a minute because we got a great question here. This is why I'm sharing it, because your servant's heart. You could have charged me $5,000. I'd be more than happy to pay. Maybe I will write you a check down the road here on a side note, but
I just send you an invoice right now, if that's okay.
there you go. Look at audience. You made him money already. I love it. But it's just, we share resources, and I probably sold 4 or 5 books. I know 3. I know 3 people reached out. They all love it.
Sold way more than that. I know for a fact.
Well, that's great because people are going to get.
I've made probably $100.
Yeah, that's not about what the books. Yeah,
right.
Book is, and you're serving people. Together we serve. We're working together to change the world and make an impact. I just got a great question in. It's a little. In what ways does the method increase discipline? I thought it was a great question.
Boy, that is a great question. Well, discipline is basically an illusion. Now keep in mind, one of the things that I know a lot about discipline, because from being the mental coach for the 18 head coaches here at the University of Texas, which I feel honored and blessed to be, we're all about discipline. And the way discipline works with the vast majority of people is it's pure willpower. Let's say there's 2 or 3 key behaviors that you need to take, and you go, by God, I'm taking those key behaviors, and I'm going to have discipline to do it. Okay. Well, again, to the explanation of the human mind, conscious mind is setting the intention based on logic. But that's the problem with the entire success industry. And I see a gaping hole here in that everybody in the business is teaching you strategies. Do this, do that. Well, all they're impacting is your intentions. And they are depending on your willpower, your sheer willpower to get you to do them. Well, that just doesn't work because, again, 95% of your daily actions are unconscious. And the only thing that actually does work is to feed those key behaviors to yourself each morning. And once you've done that every day, after 21 days, those key behaviors happen automatically without thinking. And so it radically changes the concept of discipline.
And the radical is a great word because this is radical and fairly quick, which is what I love. Now you got to stay with it. That's the thing. This is the rest of my life. This is like me getting up and drinking water. The templates is part of my life. And when you see these results, it just happens. But how much mindset? Well, a big part of it's mindset, but talk about the mindset with this and waking up every morning and reading your template.
Well, this is something I probably didn't mention. You can read it or you can listen to it, and you can have it play back in your own voice. And like the way I do it is sort of a combination. And this shows you how freaking easy it is. So I get up every morning and the first thing I do is, I go brush my teeth and sometimes I'll take my shower. I'd say when you're starting, you need to do it literally the first thing, but I'll take my shower and then I'll come back to bed and I'll put my headphones on and I'll listen to my life GPS template. I'll close my eyes. I'll turn on the vibrations on my bed, and so I'm laying there and I'm just listening to my ideal life, and I can't wait to hear it. And so it's so simple. I mean, it's just it's not something I have to make myself do. I want to do it. And then once a week, at least that's where it is today, I read it because I think there's a lot of value in reading it. In fact, I would say most people should uh, should be start by reading it. But keep in mind, I've been doing this for 20 years, so uh, I like sort of where it's at now of of listening to it. And the thing you'll see is you start going down this rabbit hole of understanding yourself better. And from reading all the things you're reading, you'll be changing your life GPS template because you'll understand something deeper and deeper and deeper about you, your life, or your business, about your health, or whatever it is. And I'm changing my life GPS template once a week. Now, you don't have to do that. I mean, most people are doing it maybe a couple times a month, a word here, a word there. But that's essentially how it works. It evolves as you evolve.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's the power of this, because at 50, I'm much different than I am at 64. You're 20 years, you're different than when you first started your template. So it's got to change. That's the beauty of it too, right?
Well, yeah, and I was saying I did my own podcast this week, and we were talking about this very thing that when a lot of times when people start this, they're like, okay, I want to up my level of success in my career, and so just like that was a big part with me. I also wanted to find my partner in life, but those were the two big things. But mainly probably the money. So off I go. It works great. Um, then as I have enough money, then I start to realize, oh, this is really changing me as a person, and it's a spiritual experience, and I'm redefining who I am and what's important to me, and how I show up in the world with people, and that's the joy of it today. Is that it truly is a um, life changing experience. And as I think I told you, in my class at the University of Texas, which is half athletes and half non athletes, and one of the athletes in my class last semester was Arch Manning, who arguably is the most popular 19-year-old on the planet and who is favored to win the Heisman Trophy. Great kid. And so he's in my class, but half the class is athletes, half are regular students. But 100% of them had this feeling of not enough, not good enough. Even Arts felt that way. And I was pointing out to him, of course you feel that way. You're wired for survival. You're fear based. You're reactive. Of course, it serves you to feel like you're not enough. And that was probably great 50,000 years ago, but in the modern world, man, you got to have the attitude that I can accomplish anything I set my mind to, and you don't want to be fear based and reactive. Let's wire you for success. And so, um, as it relates to sort of this being a spiritual experience, you get to recreate you with intention. And that's what I tell my class, and that's what I tell everybody that's reading my book. Uh, the you that exists today is a confluence of factors that were not, some of them are good, some of them are bad, but none of them were really, per se, things that you intentionally created in you. Why don't we finally start with a blank sheet of paper and recreate you with intention and put all the things you want in yourself to be there and eliminate all the stuff that you don't like about yourself And then you just feed that to yourself every day. And because the subconscious mind is so easy to manipulate, it doesn't have the logic, the power of logic to argue with what it's being fed. Again, the conscious mind or the subconscious mind is the obedient servant of the conscious mind. So if the conscious mind is feeding this ideal you to yourself every day, the subconscious mind doesn't have the power of logic to go, well, wait a minute, I don't know about that. It just automatically creates in you whatever you feed it. And that's why it's so easy to manipulate it, and it's so easy to cure childhood wounds or things about yourself that you don't like. Again, it's so easy to manipulate the subconscious mind.
I'm going to buy another book just because you sold me again. I'm going to go on Amazon and buy the book. We're going to tell you how to get the book in a minute here. Let's take a break. He needs to get some water. He's been talking a lot, but we'll come back about 5 to 8 minutes and finish off with this great conversation with John. See you guys in a bit.
Millions of people have read the book Think and Grow Rich. So how come millions of people haven't grown rich? It's not from lack of wanting to or trying. As you may know, Think and Grow Rich says there's a secret for success. But the author only gives us half of the secret. It's on the reader to figure out the other half. But that's the problem. Most people can't figure out the full secret. But when you read the book knowing the full secret, boy, it jumps out at you all over the place. When you read the book not knowing it, you're wondering, what is it? You keep reading and rereading, thinking you missed it. Well, you did miss it because the full secret is not stated in the book. So in this video, I'm going to reveal what I discovered is the full secret of Think and Grow Rich. And once you understand it, you will grow rich. I did, and I feel so blessed for how it transformed my life. At 50, it caused my income to go up by 25 times over the $200,000 to $300,000 a year I'd made each of the prior 20 years. Also met my wife from doing this as well. And today I teach the full secret of Think and Grow Rich and a 12-minute-a-day technique to apply it to high achievers at the University of Texas at Austin. So let me teach it to you now. Here's a half of the secret Napoleon Hill gives us. Everything starts with an idea. Well, when I read that at 50, I'm thinking, sure, but where do you go with that? But after reading Think and Grow Rich probably 20 times, here's what I discovered is the full secret. It's what you envision in detail with emotion on a daily basis is what shows up in your life. Now, let me say that again. What you envision in detail with emotion on a daily basis is what shows up in your life. What that means is you create immense clarity about your own unique life, exactly the person you want to be, exactly what you want to accomplish, and precisely how you're going to achieve your clearly defined goals. Then, as your new morning routine, you read it to yourself each day, and it takes 12 minutes a day. After approximately 21 days, the science kicks in, and what you're feeding yourself starts showing up in your daily actions and thoughts automatically without thinking. That's leveraging yourself through science, which is what Think and Grow Rich is all about. And the effect is three things. First, immediately you feel immense sense of control over your life. And of course you would. You're feeding the succinct articulation of your life to yourself each day. Secondly, you feel confidence, which is a direct result of the control you feel. And third, after 21 days, you're just able to do things you can't do today, and they're happening automatically without thinking, because you've rewired your autopilot. As you can see, this applies the key concepts of Think and Grow Rich: autosuggestion, repetition, and the subconscious mind. So here's how you apply the full secret to your unique life in a very practical way. You create a template that does two things. First, it makes the clarity succinct enough so it only takes 12 minutes a day to read. Secondly, it makes the clarity specific. The subconscious mind only responds to things that are specific. As you can see, the template you create fits in a plastic frame, and it sits on your nightstand next to your bed. On the front page is the ideal you in the 5 key areas of your life. First, yourself, your health, then your romantic relationship, also your spirituality, and finally, your career. On the back is the improvements you want in each area of your life. Also on the back, you'll articulate your 3 goals for the quarter. One for your career, one for your marriage, and one for your health, along with the 3 or 4 key behaviors associated with each goal. Then each Sunday morning, you record your performance on those key behaviors on the bottom of the template. And basically, you're living your life quarter by quarter. Further, your Think and Grow Rich template changes as you change. So what's the significance of that? Because you gain a deeper and deeper understanding of yourself, which then stimulates even more enlightenment. Now, let me explain the science behind this. Here's how the human mind works, according to Think and Grow Rich. Your conscious mind sets your intention and is influenced by logic, but your subconscious mind controls your daily actions, and it's influenced only by repetition. Here's an example. Let's say you want to lose weight. Conscious mind sets the intention to lose weight based on the logic of the health benefits. But your subconscious mind controls your daily actions, eating and exercise. The reason most people don't lose weight is not from lack of intention, but rather the lack of influence in the part of the brain that controls their daily actions, the subconscious mind. And you can only influence the subconscious mind with repetition. It doesn't care about logic. So the important life-changing takeaway is this, and this is the central concept of Think and Grow Rich. You don't control your daily actions. What you do control is your intentions. Therefore, you have to intentionally manipulate the subconscious mind to take control of your daily actions. When you really get this, your life is never the same.
I could watch that video all day, 24 hours. People do Netflix binges. I could do that video and binge on that because it's powerful, and we'll get you more information how to connect with that. I'm going to remind all of you that are listening and they're watching this recording. Again, I've lost over 40 pounds. I've 5 times my income in 28 days. Now it's probably 6 times in 40 days. Reading the book and following this GPS life template. I know it works, and you just have to buy the book and read it. Take a little bit of action because I guarantee it's well written as well. Let's bring our guest back because he's so awesome. John, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I got another great question here. I got to find it because I was so excited watching your video. This is something I didn't know. I think I knew, but let me see. We got a couple. Let me put this here. Show. How did it feel to be on the cover of Time magazine?
Well, it's pretty good to see, they're talking about the science behind the methodology. And it's interesting. And I said this before, this is pure science. It works on everyone. And as things have progressed, it's just, this becomes clearer and clearer in terms of it's well documented that 95% of your daily thoughts and actions are unconscious. But what gets my attention, and I think maybe when we did our original interview, I asked you if you believe that. Do you remember this?
Oh yeah.
And you said you did, and I said, well, what are you doing about it? Well, you weren't doing anything about it, which is normal. And I'm like, whoa, how can this be? If you really believe it, can't you connect the dots that you've got to gain control of your unconscious daily actions, meaning you got to gain control of your subconscious mind? I mean, it was so easy for me to connect that. And even to this day, I don't understand why people can understand that 95% of their daily actions are unconscious, yet not connect the dots to see that they've got to gain control over them. And that's what I bring to, I think, the success space is that ability to do it. But it doesn't seem to, register with people how significant that is. What do you think? Why is that?
Well, what I've learned from you is garbage in, garbage out in a sense, like a computer. You know, computers as good as you put in is what you get out of it. What I'm putting in my subconscious, I'm going to stand erect. I'm going to
Right.
call my wife every day. I mean, that was a game changer for me. And now we're going to marriage classes and growing together. I would have thought a year ago, I'm not going to go to marriage class with my wife. I was being not, I was being stupid, to be honest with you. 'Cause I love her.
Right.
But just focusing on that and focusing on her point of view. You can tell I read this because I know focus on her point of view. She has pearls of wisdom. That's in my template. And
Yeah.
I remember that. And I shut up and listen.
Well, and that's a good example, an excellent example of what I mean by 95% of your daily actions are unconscious. Your relationship with your spouse is virtually all unconscious. You're reacting to what they say. There's no planning to be this way or that way. You may intellectually sort of think, I'm going to be this way or that way. But when you're in the relationship, it's all unconscious. And, and I see that a lot of times people, when I explain this methodology to them, I go, well, listen, so the central concept of the top book of the world on success is to manipulate your subconscious mind. And what that means is I need you to feed the succinct articulation of your desired life to yourself each morning. And they'll go, huh, okay, that sounds pretty good. And then I go, now we're going to have to create immense clarity about your life and as it relates to your marriage, specific things about your marriage. And they're like, whoa, wait a minute. Now you're talking about, what do you mean clarity? I mean, and they're confused by that. What level of clarity? What do you mean? Well, I have an AI algorithm where you answer 50 questions, press a button, 10 seconds later, the template is customized to your life. And like as it relates to your marriage, uh, I'm articulating when my wife says something irritating, I just acknowledge in the moment my irritation. Just acknowledge the irritation, and that 1 second pause will make me shut my mouth and listen to her. And that keeps something unenlightened from coming out of my mouth. And like I give my wife 2 compliments a day. Well, that now happens automatically. I program myself to be flexible, patient, and thoughtful as that relates to our relationship. Okay, that's happening automatically without thinking. Uh, I'm programming myself what her love language is. I mean, there's 30 things in my relationship alone that I'm programming myself to be that happen automatically. And the exact same thing is happening in your career. There's ways that you need to be as you interact in the world. You need to do some key behaviors that sort of move the business forward. You got to focus on what moves the needle. All that is unconscious virtually, and once you start seeing these things happening automatically, as you see, it's a game changer. Before the probably the 21st day, although it sometimes happens earlier, it's sort of a theory. But once you see it actually happen, then your life is completely changed, like you've seen.
I call it, John, I've never told you this, but I tell people it's my Christmas gift every morning. I'm blessed 356 days out of the year. I get a little gift, for my life, for my
Right,
health, for my marriage.
right.
It's, and I know audience I keep saying it, but I'm doing it. And it's so simple. That's the thing. And it still blows me away. Only 2% will be successful, but that's okay. That's, you listen out there, you want to be part of the 2%, you be part of it. We're coming, we got about 5-10 minutes left. Where can people get the book, name of the book, and what's the goal of the book?
Well, the book's name is The Missing Secret of the legendary book Think and Grow Rich. You can buy it on Amazon, and the purpose of the book is really to make you play the game of life at your full potential. Because today you're playing it at literally 5%, because that's the percentage that you have conscious control over. And And so when you start doing this methodology, we're not making more of your actions become conscious. We're just giving you control over the 95% that are not conscious. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes a lot of sense.
And
You
I'll
know, and John, it made sense when you first told me on the podcast. A little bit now it makes 1,000,000% success
right,
as I do it.
right. Well, and I'll tell you something that you'd find interesting. I mean, just imagine this, because this puts into perspective what we talked about. Uh, Imagine that a pill exists that'll make you more successful in your career because your focus is only on what moves the needle. The right actions and key behaviors are happening automatically without thinking, and so that's what's going on in your career. But at the same time, imagine that this pill makes you more successful in your romantic relationship, where you're, being the way that you want to be with your partner, and it's happening automatically without thinking. And that in turn, as you no doubt have seen, has changed your wife. She's not doing the methodology, but it's changed her because you've changed. And then the third thing is, imagine that the same pill is impacting your health. And you have way more control over your health and eating and exercising. Well, this pill exists and it's backed by proven science, but you have to take this pill every day, and it takes 12 minutes a day to swallow it. Does that make sense?
Oh my God, it makes so much sense. John, I keep going back to why aren't people doing it? But we can't. People are people, and that's just it. Just is what the world's about. We're not robots. We all do different things. Regards to the template and growth, do people? Well, let me go back to this question because I have many questions in my head. We're running out of time here, but you just made a good point that my wife is a better wife because of me changing. Talk about career and say I've got a business partner. We're much closer because of me reading the template. That's another power of this book and the template. You make people around you better.
Right, right. Well, think about it as it relates maybe to your spouse, because of the inevitable yin yang in a romantic relationship. If you improve, they can't help you improve. They may not even want to improve, but they're still going to improve if you improve.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the same concept applies to a business partner that you're close to.
Yep. Your relationship gets better. Yeah.
And here's the thing, Steve, that I think is profound. Your subconscious mind is either your greatest asset or it's your greatest nemesis in life. And it's your greatest nemesis if you do nothing to control it, because it's innately wired to be fear-based and reactive from being wired for survival. And yet it can be your greatest asset since it's controlling your actions, which determine your success in life, if you take control of it. And again, subconscious mind only responds to repetition. It doesn't care about logic. So that's the power of you possess the ability to make it your greatest asset, or let it be your greatest nemesis, as it is with most people.
Yeah, I love the yin yang you mentioned earlier. That's exactly what it is. And audience, I've left the book up there. It's The Missing Secret. If you can't get the link, just look up John Mitchell or on Amazon or Missing Secret. You'll find it. Reach out to me. I'll get you it. I'll tell you what. I love John so much. I really do love him for all the reasons I've told you. If you're listening and listening to recording, the first person that reaches out to me, I will buy the book and have it shipped to you. So mention this podcast, John Mitchell, just his name, and I'm going to send you the book. And I'm going to follow up with you, make sure you've read it and built your template and all that. We're getting close. We're at 50-minute mark. We have a few minutes left. God, there's, again, so many ways we want to go. But let's pull up the success stories. You've got a whole link of videos on your website of success stories. Any one or two you might want to talk about real quick that you're excited about?
Well, I'm excited about all of them. I mean, I love my clients. I love you, and we have got to meet each other in person. I don't know how we're going to do this, but you got an invitation to come to Austin. But here's something that I think is important. I feel so honored to teach my methodology at the McComb School of Business at the University of Texas, and most people don't realize this, but according to U.S. News and World Reports, the McComb School of Business is one of the top 5 business schools in the country, right up there with Harvard and Stanford. And it took me 2 years to get my methodology approved to teach it there. So the reason I share that is that this has been vetted at the highest level. So this success formula is just not another get rich quick scheme. It's been vetted at the highest level. And if I'm listening to this, I'm like, that would make a difference. Maybe there is something to this. And I don't know. What do you think? And I'm honored that they allow me to do it.
Oh, I mean, it's fantastic. It just gives you credibility. But I got to say this, an audience, I'm being very transparent here. When he was telling me about all this, when I first met him, I thought get rich quick scheme. I've been part of some of them. But I said, what's my risk? And audience, think about this. What's your risk? You're buying a book. You read it once, it doesn't fit you. It goes on your bookshelf and you never see it again. $27.
Right.
It's made hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'll be flat out honest with everybody. $27 book. It's just, you've got it. This is one you want to risk on. I'm guaranteeing it's going to work if you follow it. But that's how I feel what you were saying about all
that. And like you and I may have talked about last time, I've had 3 epiphanies in my adult life. And obviously one of them was figuring out the secret of Think and Grow Rich that radically changed my life, where an epiphany came to me, somebody taught me something I didn't know, changed my life. Well, I just had the 3rd epiphany 3 months ago that I haven't even gotten into it with you because I'm going to give it to you, but I want you to be seated in a little more. And it fits so tightly with my methodology that it's super easy to apply it. And I'll give you a hint of what it is. This book is called Letting Go, and it talks about the 16 levels of consciousness. And most people today are operating from a standpoint of the consciousness of fear or anger or pride. And certainly I operated at those levels for most of my life. Now I operate from the consciousness of love. And it's a whole different thing, just a mindset. And of course, all I had to do was put it in my Life GPS template, and almost immediately, because my subconscious mind is used to getting programmed, I'm that way. And what a difference. And so I want to, that's the next step for you and me.
We will definitely talk. I'm excited. Unfortunately, come to the end here. I'm going to bring John back in a couple of months. There's so much more we can dive into. John, how can people thinkitbeit.com is the website? Any other ways people can reach you?
Well, just go to themissingsecret.org and you'll see the 9-minute video. That I think is the starting point. Don't buy my book. Watch the video. It's free. And then if you like it, buy the book.
Look at this. He's always serving. That's why I love this guy. Well, thank you for watching Together We Serve with John Mitchell. 95% of your daily actions are unconscious. I think we can say it's really true now after this show. So we'll see you all next week, Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Together We Serve TV show. Have a great day, everyone.